technique is no throttle button, and you just...
Oh, the choke flipped off. There we go.
So I think
that
that's
choke is supposed to go off when you hit the throttle, and it didn't.
I'm not even going to touch the throttle.
Okay.
I turned it off.
Oh.
So what did I say?
Choke down.
So that is choke.
Oh.
And it doesn't want to start because we did the wrong procedure.
Okay.
So some people will say, oh, so much safer small saw, and not so much this. Granted, you have a huge amount of potential danger in both, but the biggest danger is probably with this one, cutting your feet one. And that's why they say, you know, leather, and there's a variety of other materials, does not grab a hold of the teeth and pull it into your skin. The leather, it will skip along on top of, and that's going to give you a half second or so to say, boy, I better call it a day. I'm screwing up in a big way. But the reason for this chain brake is because of what the thing called kickback. So if this thing's heading here and you have no hard hat, that is a huge hazard. But this saw can also, well, they both can, but if you have two logs laying next to each other, or an obstruction on the other side, and you're cutting through the log over here and you don't see it, the teeth, and it depends on the safety standards of different teeth. They have chisel bit, they have many more per lineal. All these things factor into what I'm trying to describe, and I can do it by saying, let's say I'm cutting here, but I don't realize that this bar is hitting here, and it's gonna, well, that could happen with the logs laid flat, and is extremely common. And like I said, depending on, I know if I've sent a woman to a shop once and asked her to pick me up this special type of chain, and she said, well, the guy at this counter said, I won't sell it to you unless you sign a waiver. You're buying one of the big boy tools, and the kickback danger is way increased, and I'm not going to sell it because you ain't going to sue me. Anyway, the kickback can be done down here quite easily, or it goes flying over your shoulder. If you're out in the woods, you're cutting logs, and there's a particular smaller diameter, really hard wood that the log has bent over and is now under tremendous pressure. And it's not just any old piece of wood, it's some of these varieties that can, you know, way beyond a piece of steel strength. You're cutting along, that piece of wood is now relieved of its pressure, and that's 500 pounds of twang. And you know, if you are not completely prepared, you're balanced, the whole shebang, many people have these things go flying by them and rip their, you know,
Awful.
even though the chain is not spinning.
Jeez. Terrible. Okay.
So, like I was going to mention, a lot of people would say, "Oh, this will be a lot safer." Well, they even make them with a shorter bar, which makes this potential
Ah.
uh, way increased.
Sure.
And if you're not in, physical shape to hold on to and be able to balance and always, you don't want to cut any corners. You want to say, well, I want to be ready for a variety of unknowns, and for that reason, I'm going to get in this stance, and I'm going to have said muscles flexed and ready because I can see the potential of, I didn't check what's on the other side of blah blah.
Okay.
That'll do for
Safety.
that phase. We're going to move on to, well, are you still running?
Yes.
Okay, well.
We're at 18 minutes.
Okay, well.
That's fine.
You need to keep in mind that these things are extremely efficient, however, extremely dangerous, and they tucker you out. So, in our little world, removing things, especially when it is kind of an unknown, it's brushy, it's dark, things are under pressure. We utilize that kind of tool. You have a sticky situation under pressure, you can reach in and do something with this that means that you don't have to throw one of these into the garbage can because you just smashed it, or worse, somebody got hurt. You get up in there and there's blackberries and dead sticks, and you could just clear the area of obstacles. This is a gardening tool, but I can chop blackberries and pick up wood not only by stabbing it and, moving it that way, but I can reach underneath and pick up one end of a stick, and it's what an old guy at a garage sale, when I was talking about his tractor, said, yeah, you only get so many stoops in this world. And I said, oh, I don't think I need a tractor. Well, at 70 years old, this guy was trying to point out that, well, if you're really going to do this, you might want to consider reducing the amount of times that you are bending over. And all these old people that say, well, keep your back straight and use your legs. That's excellent advice. However, a lot of all this comes down to tuckering yourself out. And down there, and there's stickers, and this is an ice tong, but it saves some of the back breaking. This is also a nice tong. So let's see, one more final thing is they have a new style where your bar oil for the chain lube is in here, and this is your gas and lubricant oil mix. So this is a new kind of no spill, but like was just demonstrated in the sun, if you're smoking a cigarette and you do this,
kaboom,
you're going to have a really potential problem. The no spill is designed so that you're on a job, got all your fuel there, you run a branch bride on your customer's lawn, this tips over and dumps a big couple gallons on the lawn, and you're going to be doing some landscaping, or at least probably get called out for, boy, that wasn't there before your crew showed up. And I think people saying these no spill are too much trouble, there is a little technique to it, but it's hard to take especially a full can and empty it into one of these little holes. Thus, you can have the setting on it right. You can do this, push down, and you can monitor getting the fuel in there, and then when you got enough, it's spring loaded. You just lift up. Now there's no fuel all over everything. I don't think they've invented the technology for the bar oil. That's gonna do for phase one.
Okay, thank you for watching.